Hello, is it me you're waiting for?
Hi everyone.
Hi, it's been a week. Usually we will have our episode on Thursday night and also tonight, but we only have tonight because we have a very special guest. But before that, Rafiki,
Mm-hmm.
how was your 10 malam terakhir?
Sebelum terakhir. I mean to be honest, right? It feels good because I don't know. It's just that I've been on Twitter for some time, and I saw that everyone started doing all this. They want to khatam their Quran, increase more ibadah. So I feel motivated as well. So I'm thankful lah, that I am get I got good following this as well as good followers to just motivate me to keep doing better. How is it for you guys? Pretty good?
Alhamdulillah, pretty
No,
good.
when I was praying Tarawih just now,
Mm-hmm.
it was the second rak'ah, I think. So it was the first prayers. Then there
Right.
were announcement from the surau. It said there are 16 vacancies left for Tarawih. Come if you want. So it's like the
Oh,
first night of Tarawih here,
we
because
can
I think
tarawih already, right?
in my place it just turned green. It was yellow before. So yeah, I think from tomorrow we can start lah to pray
Alhamdulillah,
with social distancing
true, true.
and stuff.
Have you been to the
You know
masjid,
what, guys?
Rafiki?
I think masjid. No, I haven't been there. I have like this observation. Like basically how we are able to reach to this stage of PKPB where our R is 0.3, which is much lower than the R recommended by WHO, which is
True.
0.6. So, do I see this right? We see different countries having different results as of now. Some has increasing death rate, some has slower. So I feel like one of the many major reasons why we are able to be here is because of our topic tonight, good leadership. Like for instance, in Italy, right? I read a little bit. Um, so of course, this is just one of the main reasons, but one of major reasons was that the government officials were not um, portraying the best types of leadership, which leads the people to sort of go uncivilized, despite knowing the fact that there's a pandemic, they're still going out. So because of poor leadership demonstrated by Italy, they end up having a worse performance compared to China. Whereas in Malaysia, I think it's fair to say that due to the credibility and good leadership portrayed by our DG, Datuk Dr. Nur Hisham, we are able to reach here. And speaking
Exactly,
of
like,
leadership,
oh yeah. What we need right now is good governance. And uh, let me introduce our guest today. His name is literally down there as our guest, as the title of the podcast for today. The first ever guest that their name being portrayed in the title. His name is Omar Awale. He is a second year political science student from International Islamic University, Malaysia. He is from all the way at the Horn of Africa. Where is it? Do you guys know?
it's
Somalia.
Somalia.
Somalia. Yes. We have a lot of friends from Somalia in IIUM. But this one is a different breed. It's not a normal Somali. This guy have been have been living in Malaysia for quite some time. He had picked up the Malay language as well. I think he can probably talk better Malay than you, Rafiki. Uh,
Ooh.
he
I see you.
he he was in the secondary school in Malaysia, and he was the head prefect at his school. You know, remember, like, being outside of your country and becoming the head prefect at your secondary school, that is, I think, an outstanding performance. He is also the only foreigners as a cadet remaja sekolah, I think, during his time. We will ask him to elaborate later. And recently, I think last semester, he represented IIUM in Prime Minister's Cup Malay Language International Speech Competition 2019. It was an international competition for pidato. People from outside of Malaysia, people from all over the world came to Malaysia, to contest in Pidato competition, and he is also the former president of Somali Student Representative Council
Oh my god.
2019. So he's just in his second year, but his experience is massive, and we present to you Omar Awale. Woohoo!
Hey,
Omar, how are you?
hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Alhamdulillah, good, good.
Where are you right now? Where is your
Uh,
location?
Currently, I am in IIUM. We just finished our Trawih, although we don't pray here, but sometimes we pray ourselves. And I think, yeah, I'm here in UIA in my room, somewhere in the Mahallas. Yeah. How are you guys? Hi Rafiq? Hi Rafiki? Hi Anas?
Hi, how are you, Awale? How is Ramadan in UAE?
He just answered,
Actually,
man.
Feel like you're not
Actually,
scared.
Ramadan, we never thought that we're going to experience such a Ramadan in our lives. So maybe it's kind of unique. At least we have a story to tell later.
Interesting,
Oh,
interesting.
so to all of our viewers, actually, Awal is supposed to go back to his house today, but he stayed at Ismaila to be in our podcast today. So it is an honor for us to have you with such dedication and immense
Thank you, Anas.
respect for us. It is an
Thanks so
honor
much.
from us, and I hope we'll listen to more of your stories later.
Yeah,
So Rafiki,
sure.
you may start.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, I think let us start with your experience first, Omar. I am sort of interested because Anas just mentioned your portfolio just now, and it seems like you have been very actively involved, taking up leadership roles. So I just want to know: is this out of your likings, or is it because you understand the importance of it?
Okay. Thank you, Rafiki, for the question. Actually, if I start about my career, uh, honestly, at the first place that when I was young, actually I came from a place called Somalia, that Horn of Africa is a place that it was a country that was one of the first democratic country in Africa in the back days. And actually, our forefathers they used to fight for independence for other countries such as like Tanzania and a lot of in South Africa. They took part in getting South Africa also get their independence. So, but unluckily, late 90s there was a different collapse, and that's why we have to move out to come to Malaysia. And at first place, before Anna said all those things about leadership, I wanted to be a pilot, and but it doesn't happen because of some maybe vision test, but it doesn't work. But at that time, I'm kind of lost during my school period, and actually, you don't know, like when you're in such a school. I attended an Adni Islamic school, which was in a great school. That was the place that I discover myself. And I think types of leadership. I think every single of us have some type of leadership, but it just depends on how he's going to discover it. I mean, like maybe we have different type of leadership. It doesn't not only mean to lead the people. Some people they can lead themselves. Some people they can lead their family. But when I attend Adni, that's the place I discover myself. So I can say that maybe it's something that you're born with it, and also it can be a skill that you can learn. Uh, yeah, thank you. I hope I answer your question.
Rafi,
Uh,
I thought you were going to say something.
no, 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 no. Thought you were gonna, answer Awale comment.
No lah. Okay. I think I would like to ask you as well, Omar. Um, what's the exciting thing about being a leader, in your opinion?
Did you hear the question, Awale?
Can you pardon that, please?
Oh, so
Sure. Um, what do you find interesting about leadership or leadership skills in general?
Okay. Uh, That's a very good question. What I find interesting in leadership, actually, if we talk honestly, uh, if you see, like, most of the people, most of the good people, actually they run away to be a leader, and that's the really, and I can say that that's the really the good leaders that we really need it at this type of period. I mean, like in this 21st century. And the best thing that I can find in leadership, I'm interested in at least, is a place that at least you can lead the people. That means that uh, if you really want to be a leader, you should be like, for myself, that things that I really like is to help people and to change lives, and to bring change into the people's life. And for me, one person is actually changing. If I can change only one person, is really, really, really important to me, because we never know that where that person will end up. I mean, like, that person can become a future leader, and that person can shape a whole country. So that's what I really like in leadership. Actually, it's not only the post, but and actually it's really, really good. And as a Muslims also, that one of the good things that recommended was being a good leader, like Imamun Adil. When you are become a fair leader, that's like those are the type of people who went to heaven, without asking questions. So you can do two in one. And the other thing that I really like is about, it's not to get a name or to have say like, oh, this guy is a leader or something, but it's to influence people to do good. Because as human being, that was the main reason that we were sent to this earth, because of we are the Khilafah, right? So we should guide to the people, and that's one. That's why I really find interesting about leadership, and hope one day maybe I can lead my country and bring change. Yeah. So yeah.
Leading your country is an interesting point. We'll get to that later, but we'll go to you leading your school first. So, in your early days in Malaysia, so being a foreigner in Malaysia, I mean, obviously you didn't know Malay language. Of course, like you went to an international school, you spoke English and stuff. But then being surrounded by Malays, the dominant or the majorities of the students at your school. So how did you had the courage of being the head prefect at your school during that time, and what did you find the most challenges, obstacles that you had to go through during that time?
Okay, Anna, thanks so much. That's very interesting question. Uh, okay, how I become a leader. I mean, like, I can say that. See, my Malay is coming out now. You see, when you start speaking about my school. So the good thing is now is like, if I tell a little bit story, uh, I think I still remember the date that it was 2000. It was 2012 December, date of 12. I still remember that day. It was kind of special day. I started my that time that when I came to Adni, and it was really interesting. Like, you came from a very far place. I mean, like, different culture. The people look different. People see you like in different way. You don't eat the same food. You don't do anything. And I attended that school, and the first day I come to the school, I felt like, yo, I want to go back home. I mean, like, it was really tough, but Alhamdulillah, the good thing was, like, I was welcomed a very good friends, a very good peers. That means that I still remember a lot of my friends until now. They welcomed me, and that's why how I get into the school. But the funny part that used to happen was I was kind of interested to learn Malay, which means that there was another international students in the school also, but I used to focus more on learning different culture. Because when we say, like, someone who's like me, who's not even a foreigner to this place or to this country, like, there's not much to learn, right? I mean, like, what I say was, like, I get close to my local friends, and I still have a lot of cool of them until now, such as, like, I have Reza, one of my good friends here. Yeah, I think he's online now. I can see him maybe. So after that, this is where the leadership point came in. I used to help my classmate. I used to do a lot of volunteer work without seeking an attention. So what I used to do is, most of the time is, and because I want to learn more, I want to gain more knowledge. It's not only about going to the classes. Okay, you study physics, you study math, and all that. So when you come out, you go inside the people, you go through with the people, you work with them, you eat with them. So that was where I learned my how to eat nasi lemak slowly. I remember the first time I was eating, it was really hard for me, and so I get to play futsal with them. So I learn culture. That's why I start picking up my Malay language. You know, like it's obvious, you know, when you're learning a new language, the first new words that you usually learn is like something inappropriate, right? So I learned those language, those words. Uh, and what happened was out of nowhere, at the first 6 months of my when I was in secondary one, I became cadet remaja scholar. I remember lance corporal, and when I became lance corporal, they were surprised and they was like, wow, I was like international students. So and after that, after another 6 months, no 6 months, after 2 months, I became a prefect. I was selected to become a prefect, but before that, I think I missed one point, which was that one during my first year, I was really naughty person in my class, and I think all my classmates they still remember what I used to do. Used to jump around and all that. But when I became a prefect, I felt something. I realized that I have a responsibility more than that. So what happened was I used to do all my duties, come early to school, do assembly, do things that no one asked me to do. So what happened was out of nowhere, the school board sit together. I still remember our principal, Pa Asni, they sit together. And when I was in Form 4, the good part was I was not even a leader in the school. I was just a form 4 guy. So what happened was
Jap, Awale, I think you're lagging a bit.
Yeah, you're like,
for you, I repeat myself. Sorry, there was something I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
during Form 4.
During my Form 4, so until Form 4, I used to be a good follower, which means that I never lead a place. I mean, like, but I used to work under the leaders who used to do good things. I still remember my seniors used to guide me. So the good part was when I was Form 1, I was friends with the Form 4, Form 5, and everyone in the school. So I learned a lot. So when I was a Form 4, I remember one of my friend who was a senior. He used supposed to become the head prefect of ADNI. He was Form 5, but out of nowhere, the school board selected me to become a head prefect, which means that from a normal guy to lead the whole school, which means to become one of the first international students, it was really tough. And so I have to act accordingly at that time. One thing I really wanted to change the school was to to create brotherhood between the students. You know, so what we used to do is not only study, go class. We used to play futsal together. We used to love one another. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean like not because of I mean like as a brothers, eh? And as I see you laughing. So what happened was, like students, there was no bullies at all at that time. Everything decreased. So we create mahabbah between the students, which means that if you are Form 5, you should help the younger one, Form 1, and then there was a respect between the seniors and the juniors, and that was a good thing. And one thing that I really want to establish was to change how the board works, how the school works. It was a lot of trouble, and and Alhamdulillah, maybe I managed to do that much. And I was just a Form 4. Can you imagine that? I just Form 4 guy that he has to lead his seniors, which are Form 5. And it's not in a university level, it's on a school level, which means,
School level.
yeah, school level, which is quite harsh. But Alhamdulillah, I succeeded to lead the whole school. And after that, when I became Form 5, I became head prefect again. So that makes me that the only person in ADNI history to become 2 years in head prefect. We changed a lot. We changed the board. Uh, there was a lot of change, and I used to be even friends with the primary students. You know, some I still remember like when you're in head prefect, you have such a lot of influence in the teachers and the students. Like some students will do a mistake, So I have to report them to the discipline teacher. But sometimes I'll just tell them, hey, what, if I report these things, I'm not getting anything, but you will be the one who's in trouble. So I used to tell them, like, I used to consult them before I take disciplinary action first. So that was the most successful part I did, I can say that. So students don't do a mistake and they see me as their brother. So you know why? I believe that if every problem, we have to check the root of that problem. That means that maybe that student is doing this problem because we never know. He may have a family problem. He may have a bad day in back home. He may have a friend's problem. Maybe they skip class. So I used to ask them, why you skip class, and they used to tell me freely. Until Alhamdulillah, maybe I can say that until now, some of my friends, I changed the way they behave, and they still thank me. Even their parents used to send me text saying that, Umar, thank you for changing our kid like that. But Alhamdulillah, I graduated happily, and yeah, and I hope I answer your question, Anas.
That's really like insightful, and I can see like how your experience leading the school level as a head prefect for 2 years can like give you the needed experience to lead a country-based society in UIA. But like,
Yeah.
I really want to know, like, when you were offered the position as a Form 4 student, how do you feel at the time? You took up the position because you volunteered for it, or like you feel like a sense of responsibility for the position? And like maybe the second question is like, as a Form 4 student, of course, you have another senior up above you, Form 5. So how do you deal with the pressure? There's a lot of pressure. You have to face not just the teachers, but also maybe the seniors and dealing with the juniors. How did you do it?
Okay, thank you, Rafiq. Uh, how you know Actually, when you like, that was really good question. Like, first, when I was offered the position, I felt it like a sense of responsibility because that time I had all my school friends support, which means that uh, literally most of the students used to they used to support me so much. They used to like the way I lead things, and that's why they find out in this. Even I had no position at that time, but sometimes uh, sometimes I used to help the teachers to do something that they cannot do it, which means that, example, like, let's say there was maybe in the hall, the teacher is trying to say something and no one is listening, and this used to happen. Something that I gained their respect and I'm really grateful was, like, example, like when I entered the hall, the whole the whole place will be quiet out of sudden, you know. So they used to give that much respect. So that's why. And the pressure that of course there was a lot of pressure, but the good part was my batch, Form 4 batch, they used to really support me. Although some of them were not prefect at that time, but still they used to do good things with me. They used to support me. So when you are alone, you cannot do things. But when you have a lot of people at your back, you can do a lot of, you can achieve a lot. One of them was like, I still remember. One of them was like Dollar. He was one of we used to call him the beast mood in our school, but at the same time he used to do good things. And there was a lot of friends. We used to have a cave. And my batch literally was one of the good batch in Adni ever had. I can say that because we were the most students at that time. And there was Ali, there was Kinawi. That guy was good, but he never showed. He never said something to the people, but he shows in his action in a sports and all those things. So I used to have a good friends around me. So my seniors, I used to tell them, hey guys, I have this responsibility. So when I'm wearing the blue, they used to say, like, when I'm wearing the blue, everyone was equal to me, including my friends. I think some of them, some lecturers or teachers used to ask me, how you do that? How you punish everyone? Like, I mean, like, sometimes you have to take actions. And example, in our school, you cannot allow to bring a phone. So sometimes your very, very close friend will bring a phone to school. What should you do? And he is the one who sits beside you in class. So I used to tell him, bro, we are friends, I know that, but when I am wearing this blue, I have to take action. So I used to do action. So the juniors, when they see that I'm doing something to my close friends, so they felt like, yo, this is kind of fair that everyone is equal in front of my eyes when I'm wearing the blue, when I have the responsibility. That's the thing that everyone was good. I have little challenges, my seniors, they were good also. And but I managed, alhamdulillah. But because of my friends, like, I can say that they support me. Not only the prefect, non-prefects also. We used to have like a guy called Akram. He used to be a crazy guy and fun guy, but one of the good supporters also. Yeah, and yeah, that was good. And until now, we become brothers, and they are my close friends until I have. Yeah.
I think that is one of the challenges as a leader. You know, it's a conflict of interest when you have a lot of connections with everyone. Then you'd be afraid to to do something that is against your friendship with them. But let's not move into university time yet. We'll stay with school time because you've done a lot of amazing stuff in school also. You have mentioned it to me a lot of times. You have went to the camping for cadet remaja sekolah. You went to Kelantan during the flood times in Banjir that you got food poisoning. Do you want to tell us a bit of your co-curricular experience in your school?
Okay. If I talk about my co-curriculum in my school that time, I think I can say that I used to do a lot, way much a lot than other students, which means that although that sometimes you have to spend a lot of money to just do such a things, an activity, you know, I, what I mean was I always used to see the benefit and what I can learn from it. And I can say that most of the things I'm doing now is like I learned it from those curriculums. We used to have a good lecturer, good teachers, like we used to call him Ustad Lukman. He used to be our friend at the same time he was our teacher in curriculum. I used to do a lot of sports. I used to play futsal every time after school. I used to play that, and sometimes I used to play with them when I was from two. I used to play with them before class, sometimes before 8, before the school started. We used to play futsal in school. So that's one thing. One of the other thing that I became, I used to lead on one of the sport house when I was form 4. Also, that was the most interesting part. One of the strongest household in, they used to call it the Khanda, the Yellow House, who have a lot of champion title. I lead that time with the help of my friends and all. And the other curriculum I used to do was Cadet Remaja Scholar, which most of the international students used to run away from them. I mean, like they really don't like that curriculum, which means it's kind of,
Of course.
you have to do kawat, you have
Yeah.
to do camping, you have to do all those things. So I was so interested not only to get the CV or the certificate and all, but I was interested at least I have a knowledge, like tomorrow when I go back to my country or want to do something, I have something to tell in back home Malaysia. If someone told me describe Malaysia, now I know what to say. I have, because I dealt with Orang Asli. I go as you say, when the flood happened, I volunteered to go with. I went 2 times actually. The first time was we went to around 15 people. I was the only international I think that time. And so when we went there, we sleep in the van. So I just want to experience the challenge, how people live in, you know. So it was kind of tough. The second time that I went, we went a lot of 45 students. It was very good time. That time was not that bad, you know, it was better than the first round. I volunteered that time also. We went, it was kind of fun, you know, when you go long road trip with your, and it was first time that I went to Kelantan. You know, the good thing I saw in Kelantan was I can see Jawi, you know, everywhere is written in Jawi. So at least, yeah, I was like, yo, okay, now there's a different type of how they write in Malay. So it's not only about being there, but you will experience a lot of things, how people act.
Can you kecek Kelantan sikit?
I only know Gomo Klate. Kece Klate. My friends, most of them from Klante. And yeah, that was a good para when I went with. And actually, it was very, very good experience that you know, the funny part is when you went to Kelantan that time, when they see a foreigner, especially not only foreigner, when they see a black man suddenly in the middle of the flat in Kelantan, you know, that's something unique to say, you know, right? And some of them, they thought that I cannot understand Malay. So what they will just speak beside me and start laughing, you know. And I was like, when I speak Malay back to them, they really be shocked. It's like, are you sure? Is that you who is saying that? That was the most experience. And yeah, and the good thing is you create bonds between your friends, and you create a family. You know, I still have my friends here, which was a good, yeah, yeah. So I get a food poison. That was the part I forget, and I ate mihun. I remember that. That was first time I ate Kelantan mihun. You know, and I think a bunch of us ate it, but me and my other friend Irfan, we get food poison. So when you go to the hospital, there was, you know, how bad is it? Like when there's a flood, people queuing up, and you experience. So that's the time that I felt it like I'm in the flood place. I became a victim. I went there to rescue people. I mean to help people, but when you become a victim, there is really hard. And the funny part was it was the time that we are about to leave and come back to KL. So the whole
Allah.
two bus students, they have to wait me for more than 5 to 6 hours until I can feel okay. So that was a really good experience. Yeah. Thanks, Anas. I hope that was okay.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It seems like you had a lot of experience. When you said just now that you really wanted to take up the challenges, I remember this one time. I would like to share with you guys. I remember this one time. I went to like a ceramah, a kuliah. Then this ustad started talking about the hikmah between why Rasulullah was put in all the hardships in Mecca before he went for hijrah in Medina. So one of the reasons he said being you cannot truly understand your followers unless you are in that position of being in hardship. I see that this is happening with you. For instance, in Adni, you talk about you wanting to know other people first. Instead of judging them, you ask them what's the problem, what's everything. And I think this is something, a lesson that can be learned by us all, being a leader. Definitely know and have that empathy towards your followers. Okay, so I think we've covered just about everything in your academy life. Let's move
Yep.
on to university life. Now, I know that you did a lot of stuffs in academy. Um, and then in university, I'm pretty sure you had that some kind of um, a little bit of thinking whether or not you can whether or not you can continue this performance. So I would like to know, in terms of as leadership goes, what were your targets? Sort of the leadership things that you wish you can do in university, and how much have you accomplished so far?
Okay. Rafiq, yeah, that's very good question, I think. And I was expecting that. Uh, actually, so what I meant was like, okay, you know, if I take one step back to school, I always used to think like at least try to change something that the place you are in. Example, let's say that maybe I have a vision in the future, maybe in coming 20 years or 10 years to lead my country. So I used to think, I used to plan at that time. Let's say that, okay, you are in school, try to at least have an influence or try to do change at the small place. So in school, there was only like a few thousand, like thousand students, something like that. So when you start changing your school, actually you started from your house. After from your house, you go to school. So for me, it was like, okay, now I'm done in the adni. So let's go to UIA. So my target UIA was at least, you started where you live in, the area that you start, the people who surround you, the people that you see every day. So that was the good start. So when I entered UIA, the first thing I became was to become a president of where I live that time, which was Mahalla Siddiq. So at least why I did that was because that's the place that you can make a friends. I mean, like you can start bringing your own ideas because in one mahalla, there's a different students from economics to engineering to different type of students. So from there you can learn how students things in different way. Maybe the economic students and HS students different. So I start making friends with different kulia. So one of the target that I wanted to do is in UIA was at least to represent IIUM, and it happened. So I think I can say I accomplished most of the plans that I had in UIA. So some of the students used to tell me, why don't you go student union and all that. But when I became here, after that, the second thing, before I hand over the presidency of Mahala Siddiq, and I became the president of the Somali Student Society. Yes, that's where the good part comes in. Because I used to stay in Malaysia for quite long, actually I can say I was Malayanized at that time before I come here. You know? So what happened was when I enter, so I find difficulty to see my own people, how they do things, how can I react. So I was like, okay, you want to change someone in the future, you have to start now here in UIA, the small community first. So I tried in the international way before, I mean, like in the local students, the Malay. Now I was like, okay, why don't you try the people who are the same culture and everything, and it works. So I became a president. At that time, I was holding two positions of president. One was the Mahalla, and the other one was this. So I have to plan well. So one of the good part was like literally we changed how the society worked at this UIA, and we reformed everything. And I always believed one thing: it's not is the most important thing is to change the mindset, how we think. Okay, how what we want to be, actually what kind of society we want to be. So when I became a president, it was kind of tough. We reshaped everything. We bring our student representatives, some master students. We make advisors for our PhD students. We make the community come together. You know, the good part of this society here is we are Somalis, yes, but we came from different countries. Some of them came from Canada, some of them, I'm here, stay in Malaysia for quite long, some come from Saudi. So I was like, yo, you know, but we still have one common thing, which means we can still be brothers and share things. So what happened was we create a lot of divisions. We start doing our own society business. That was one of the good successful things, is because we want to generate income to help students. So we did that, and it was working. That was a good thing. The other thing that I achieved doing it was like maybe I'm a fourth year student, the other person is second year or first year, but he's having a hard time to find it. So what happened was we gathered every single assignment and information and everything in one Dropbox. So whenever new students come, he can access all informations that his seniors did it. So at least he have a guide to follow. He's not lost, especially CELPAD when it comes to bridging, economic subject. I'm not an economic student, but I think you guys are, some of you. But I know business math. How hard is it? I learned it because of my friends. See, I found out in the Dropbox and all that, they're saying that business math is hard. So we did an tuition, and one of the good part was, although we were different, although we were different, but I wanted to bring the name of the society to reach in another level. That is where the society came in the Umatic. I think most of you guys witnessed. So we just believe it, the impossible to become a possible. You know, the good thing was one of my friend Ahmed and me, we was like, yo, we have to do something that no one ever dreamed for. That's what I think the title is saying today. Like, we made the society believe themselves and do something that no one is expecting to do it. So we end up at second place. We did something like at that time crazy things was like such as like he did the fire thing, but something you ain't never done it in front of the stage. And the idea was like the drone that and I can say that one of the things that was a winning point was we don't only use, I used to tell them, yo, you're economics, you're HS, let's put this idea come together in the society, you're economic students, how we can do budgeting and all those things, do the accounting things. I'm in HS, let me do and give that one in public speaking, influence people. You know, it was like that. Our engineering students, they used to design the booth. If you guys see the booth, we did it like they draw, everything was handmade, and the one who did was most of them engineering students who design. So we gathered all our knowledge come together and did that thing. And one of our friends, a very close friend who's here, Reza, I think most of you know, he really helpful to me that time, and brother Anas also. who's here today with me. He was one of our backbone with me because he used to support me a lot. I mean, like, having such a pressure, and when you have a good classmate who always your group mate who always want to do something good with you, guide you. Sometimes, why I'm saying this in front of here is because if you don't thank people, how you're gonna thank your creator, right? And from Anas, I get to know a lot of people, such as like I see Reza. Reza was one of the good friends I used to have since school. Although we used to do sport check together, the tough part. So when I met him in UAE, I was like, yo, we are back together. So from there, I get to know a lot of students like some of the what do you call Chrysants. I know Akel. I met him in a classmate. We was good friends and all, and that was a good experience. So I think I have done most of my visions in UIA because when I represent my bidato, that was one of a good experience, and I felt proud that at least that I wanted to represent my university, and I go under the UIA name and go with that competition, and I learned a lot. So that was really, really a good experience. So I think I achieved most of my things in UIA. Now I think I have a small time, maybe 2 more years, to bring an influence to the bigger society, bigger than UIA. So yeah, that's what I'm planning. Right?
That's really amazing. Like, I can see like how you put your experience, like your 2 years as a head prefect in ADNI, and you transfer your skills to become the good leader for your BRC, the Bloc Representative Council in Mahala Farouk, and also the Somali president.
Sedik, sedik,
So,
sedik.
oh, Siddiq. Oh, sorry, Siddiq. I thought Farouk. But then, like, I want to know, like, all these years of leadership, you must have faced some problems that you think every leader will face. These problems, I think, are common no matter what society are you becoming the president of. But so I want to know, like, how do you overcome these problems, and like, what kind of problems that usually gets in your way to achieve your goals, and how do you deal with it?
Actually, Rafiq, that was a very good question. I meant that is that, yeah, uh, I always believed one thing that was, uh, I used to have this one quote, you need to have one principle if you are a leader. So I always used to believe that if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. So which means that, like, every good thing they have to go through under pressure. So you know what I mean, that even you see the diamond, to get a nice shining, you have to put a lot of pressure. So I always used to believe that. So but other thing was those, what I used to do even in UIA here. Of course, I face a lot of challenges. Like sometimes your elder guy than you, like maybe PhD student, will say to you, no, this is not how you do things. How are you going to face it? So what happened was, you plan things first, and people always go with grouping. So what I mean that I will not try to change every single person in the society, but I'll try to change every leader in that society, so they are the one who will lead others to do good. So which I used to do was, like, in economic students, they must be influence students there. So I will get those guys. I'll try to contact with them, try to influence them, trying to do good things with them. One, because they have a lot of followers. That was what I was doing it. And one thing about leaders, sometimes you felt like, I always have this one principle saying that, I mean, like, you never show your weakness in front of people, which means that people always think that you are a strong person, but when you go back to your room, you can cry, you can do whatever you want, you can do, but you know yourself, but never bring it out in front of the people, in front of, no matter if that person is your enemy, if that person is you don't like him, or you love that person, uh, you show them equally. And the thing is, when you make your enemy or someone who doesn't like you to become your friend, they will try to improve themselves more, to prove them they are good people. You get me? So that's where the good advantage come in. You mean, like, so when I see a challenge, when I see someone is really, really challenging me or trying to put me down, I'll be their friends, I'll show them something else, so they will be surprised. They're saying that, yo, I'm doing bad things to this guy, he's doing something good to me. So that person will start to prove himself wrong, so he will do a lot of good things. So that was one of the challenging. I think if you are a leader, you should be the first person to come and the last person to leave, you know. So that was one of the good mottos. Not only to do things, even when it comes to food. Like example, when you have a party or something, you should serve the people first. And you know, it happens. It happens a lot of times. Like when we have a iftar jama'i one time in HS, I remember like although I'm the president, I used to tell them, yo, you know, every single person among us should take a turn to lead, not only me leading all the time. So what happened was, imagine like one of the bureaus, I'll tell him, yo, today you are the leader, you lead us, including me, I will be your followers. So I want him to gain the confidence. So there it will help them to train themselves. It will help them to say something in front of the people. And what happened was, the funny part was like there was this mass gathering, and what happened was they were doing the planning and all, and suddenly my name come out to clean the place. So while the guests came and they were serving, and this guy was leading, and the people were shocked. I said, "Hey, Omar, why are you mopping the floor in education?" I said, "That's who am I? I mean, like it doesn't mean that I'm president. Okay, I should not do all the lower part of the job and all things. But and always I like to produce leaders. I always believe one thing. The more you give, the more you get. So I mean, like I used to love to make people talk, especially public speaking, because I had a good friends in back school. They are the one who helped me to speak in front of the assemblies and all. I before I was the guy, the most shyest guy I can ever imagine. So I want to give back. So in Alhamdulillah, now the good thing in the society, let's say in the Somali society in UIA, what happened was they see me entering in international, like I mean the local bureaus, they see me entering the, so that lead, now we have almost around 8 people who are very influenced in UIA. Let's say that we have let's say that the Taekwondo president is a Somali guy. The karate president is Abdullah. The DJ, one of the FM, it becomes so people will just show the way. They will start following you. But the challenges is always there. You'll give up. But one thing is, if you believe in yourself and you know where you're going and you believe God, I think you can come over the challenge. Yeah, thanks, Rafiq.
Oh, that's a speech of wisdom, Awale. Thank you so much. I think you will inspire a lot of our viewers, both on YouTube and Spotify. We have talked about leadership, what is the challenges when you lead a team, a society, a group of people, and there should be a lot of challenges, and you have like explain how did you overcome it and stuff. So I think if we look at your Instagram page, the bio says you're reading politics and public speaking is your passion. So, and you said that you were the shyest guy in school, and like your friends has changed and has trained you well, so that you have become this confident speaker, and it has become your passion. So one of the things that we have mentioned earlier was when you represented IIUM in the Pidato speaking competition. So being an international representing UIA, representing your university in a Malay speaking competition, what was your feeling during that time?
Actually, at that time was, the good part was, you will feel like heavy actually. UIA, when it comes to the in outside stage, they have a very huge name. I mean, like they have a very high brand. Like someone told you, yo, go represent Nike or something. It's something huge especially when it comes to public speaking. So the good part was when I went to the competition, they asked me, which university you from? I came from UIA. Oh, people show some kind of respect. So that thing will put you more pressure on you, saying that you cannot let down this name. This kind of they have high brand name, which means. So I felt it very amazed. I was lucky, and I think I was the only person. I was during my second year, you know. So representing on your second year in whole university, that's such a big thing. Such an achievement. That's the top thing that you can reach. And and I did it, and I learned a lot of experience, and I met a lot of ministers there. I met Dr. Mazli. Uh, he was a former former Minister of Education, and I had chit chat with him. It was such an experience, and when you meet. So the good part was like when we went to the hotel and all those doing. Always people used to tell me, Omar, your Malay is so fasih. Like you don't sound the international. So that was the most confusing part, and I felt happy, and
Cuba
at
cuba
least
cakap sikit Melayu.
what should I say lah? boleh cakap. So sebenarnya, so it was like masa tu susah jugalah, macam you ada banyak pressure juga. So it was like you kena fokus betul-betul lah. So it's not about winning or losing, you just getting the experience. That was the thing, the main course. So, and that was really good, and I really enjoyed doing Malay public speaking. Not only me enjoy it, sometimes when my friends from different Somalia or back home or family watch, they will be surprised. So that's at least show them that every single thing is possible, no matter how hard is it, that you can do it. Nothing is impossible actually in this world. So but actually it's not in my dictionary the word called impossible. Everything can. If God can say kun fayakun, it can happen. So you just need to believe in yourself. That's one thing, and that's what I did it, and that's why I go to that public speaking, and it was good. Yeah.
All right, Omar. So I'm interested when you say you need the experience. So of course, leadership is a journey. You don't become a good leader on your first day. But I believe that leadership is a skill or a journey that needs to be embarked by everyone, because at the very least, we know that we should be a leader to ourselves, or if not, you're going to be a future leader to your family. So I would like to ask for your opinion as well as some tips, because we are kind of wrapping up right now. Um, can you give some tips about to the people who are shying themselves away from this leadership journey because they feel like they're not the type to be leader, they're not the type to do these things? So what would be your advice for them?
Okay. Actually, when the question that you asked should say that everyone should be a leader, and it's not actually just kind of. It's also hadith saying that kullukum ra'i, and everyone is responsible. Everyone should lead himself. So what I'm trying to say is like, you know, leader is not only someone who leads people. You know, a leader can be someone who lead himself. I mean, like why I say himself means you need to example. Let's say that like okay, you are responsible yourself. I mean, like some students like or some friends, like what I should say is like at least be leader to yourself. I mean, like be committed to what you do. Try to make a vision, try to have a goal, try to achieve a lot of things. Try to say like, yo, why I'm going class every day. You have to ask that kind of question. Why I'm learning this? Because of your parents ask you to do so. Why I'm doing such a job? Because of I want to do. So at least have a guideline. So when leadership is actually you can lead people in a lot of places. You can lead people. You can lead a country. You can become an accountant. Who knows that? So you can become a good accountant. There is the place that you can lead people through your accountant, or maybe through your economics, or maybe through your engineer. Be innovative. So what I'm trying to say is everyone should at least you have to come over your weakness. And the most important thing that a person can know that I can give an advice is like everyone should know his weakness and his strength. So that was the most basic fundamental that we can say that okay, if I know my weakness, so I should know and I know my strength. So I can find someone who knows maybe let's say, okay, maybe Rafiki, my weakness is your strength. Let's say that my weakness is your strength and your weakness is my strength. So when you acquired and you say that this is not my type of things, when you share it out, maybe you'll find the help that you needed. Maybe your weakness, maybe some of your friends can help you to do such a things. So I can give an advice is everyone should know your weakness and you should know your strength. and put it together, and let's say, how can I improve my weakness? That's also discovering your own self, also is a kind of leadership. That's why we do all these kind of surveys and all those things. But I can give the advice, people who are watching live and whoever so this is going to see this video, always dream high. Don't always say that. If you want to go target the highest you can, and never have a plan B. Always have plan A. If plan A doesn't work, don't say plan B, don't say plan C. If there's some plan A will work, and it will work. That's how you believe in yourself. So I think I can give that kind of advice. Know your weakness, know your strength, and always one step forward.
Thank you, Awale, for telling us your tips for like how you think that a good leader should become. So like I think like maybe a few more questions like I want to ask. Like maybe firstly I want to know like what's your next goal after becoming the president of maybe Somali Student Representative Council? And like I want to know maybe what's your next step? What's your next big goal? You've been saying that you want to maybe go on a larger scale, maybe affect the society and not just me, the student of UIA. So yeah, I want to know that.
Uh, Rafi, that's very good question. And that was something that I would really love to answer actually. Uh, you know, since our title today is the leadership and believing influencing people, something that is unbelievable or something they cannot do it. Uh, my next target is, what I'm trying to do now is, okay, let's say that we are in a degree life. Okay, some of us maybe thinks, okay, I'm doing degree, I don't have to think what's after that. I don't have to, just eat, sleep, do your degree, go classes, have fun. Yeah, that's what everyone is coming. So you need to have something extra. So what I'm planning now is, if I tell you some of my plans, I'm trying to do, let's say that I'm a someone now. Let's say that I want to do influence, more influence, which means that uh, I'm planning to influence the people in my back country, people who in Malaysia, people who's in Kenya, people in different part of the world that we came from. So now is the time that I want to give back to my country. So, and how can I do that? A lot of people told me, Omar, maybe you are just a degree students, what you can do? I told them, you want to see, just watch and wait. What happened was like, what I'm planning to do is now I am trying to do a public speaking. So I used to do a lot of public speaking. I'm trying to do a public speaking, tell them that what we should do in a country, like in back home, how we should have a good leaders, how should we have a good economics and all those things. So so one of the things that I'm planning is I start the journey, my journey, that will lead me to become a president in back home. So which means that, so now I start the journey that will lead me to become a president back home while I'm in my second year of degree. How can I do that? So these days, what I did was like I do influencing videos, talking about why we should aim high, why we should have such a things in our country. Because let me tell you something small about my Somalia. It's a country that is small population, and they have a lot of natural resources. They have oil and gas. They have one of the most agriculture in back East Africa. They have everything, you name it, and it's very strategic location that connect most of the Europe and Asia. So I was like, we should take an advantage. So one of the dreams that I want to do, it was like, some people may laugh. I said, yo, why can't we do like Wakanda here? Everyone watch Wakanda movie here. Something very advanced, technology, people smart, innovative, dream high, Yeah. So I was thinking that that's how you do. So why I'm start doing this public speaking or videos and all these things is, the good thing is, my country, 75% of the population is under 30 years old. So which means that all of them are youth. And that means that it's like I'm talking to you guys. So when I share my ideas and experience, at least I can influence more people in back home, not only in UIA and other my surroundings, but now I think I have to step up, influence people in back home, and it will take time, but it's never too late. I think it's the best time. So what happened is, when I finish my degree, at least I know where to go or where to start. So for those of you who's having a business or engineering or something, do something now. At least train yourself now. So when you finish your degree, you know where to go. So we live in a world of technology now. You should create connections. You should know who's good at that. Today, if you pick up your phone, you should know who to call. Even if the smallest, if you want a cleaner, you should have a cleaner number in your phone. That's how the world works now. You need the smallest thing. So you should know someone from the police, someone from the army, someone cleaner, everything. That's the connection that everyone should start creating now. That's what I'm doing now, and I did it actually when I went back to my country. There was 2017, 18. I traveled the whole country because that leadership thing saying that to lead the people you should know the country and its people. So I did it, alhamdulillah. I traveled the whole country. I was going road trip like around 2 months. So that's what I'm planning to do. So when I finish my masters, maybe I can become the youngest president, who knows, in my country. So it's just aiming high. Thanks so much.
Go Awale, go Awale. All of us will definitely be patiently watching and waiting, as you said. You know, if we could see you becoming the president of Somalia one day, inshallah, all of us will pray for you. I hope you can,
I mean,
show this video at your Facebook or something once you become the president.
this will go to history. Who knows? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
mashallah.
Actually,
Okay, record this, everyone. How many years do you have to wait?
but this year is very fast these days. 2020 is gone because of COVID now. So just like that. So
Okay, I'll give you 10 years. Yeah? And we will ensure that relationship between Somalia and Malaysia will bloom faster and and stronger, inshallah.
inshallah.
So I think we are reaching the end of our podcast. But before we end our podcast, we have a few of our last questions, a few of our must ask question for our guest, which will be asked by my friends Rafiq and Rafiki here. And I hope you don't have to be afraid. It won't be that hard, but I think it will be mind stimulating for you. Okay, Rafiki or Rafiq.
I think Rafiki can go first. Mine are a bit not serious. Rafiki, the serious guy, can go first.
Okay, wait. Do we ask the serious one or the less serious one?
No, you ask the serious one.
Yes.
I ask the non-serious.
Okay, all right. So this is this or that. So which one do you prefer, Mandela or Mahathir?
Can you repeat that?
All right, Mandela or Mahathir? Which one do you prefer?
Oh, that's a very tough question.
Awale, Awale.
Actually, honestly speaking, uh, I prefer. Some people may say, actually, I prefer Mahathir, and I'll tell you why. Okay, Mandela. You say Mandela, right? Okay, Mandela was fighting freedom, yes, but one thing that I really admire Mahathir, and one thing that I learned from his books, Doctor in the House, and I read all those things, and why I liked him because I really like the way he thinks. And the most important part is that one thing that I would really like to implement in back home, like that's what I say. I need to take something from Malaysia and go back to my country and implement it. What thing that I learned in Malaysia is one of the most value and fundamental that even Malaysian have is that you know respecting one another. That's one of the value that this country have. No matter how, even if you see someone who's very gangster, who's doing all the crazy thing, if you see an older people, you will give the muchest respect that he can. So that's one of the good thing. When a society respect one another, that's where a good society came in. And one thing that I really like, that I would like to implement in back home is look to the east. That's one of the policies that Mahathir that I really like. Look to the east means that let's look Japan and all those things. You know what I like about that? And in the upcoming future, I will really implement that. I'll be ambassador to Malaysia. You know what I mean? Like I like that idea. If you look in the African countries, let's look in the African countries. There's a lot of one of the most richest continent in Africa. You know why? Because they always look to the West. I'm not saying the West is bad. I'm not saying they are such a good bad people. No, there's a lot of things we adopt from Western countries. But the good thing now we need is that we need to look to the east. So when I go back to Somalia, my east will become Japan and Malaysia. So I want to bring that kind of idea in back home. innovative. People should be more in technology, productive. They should plan for the future, you know. And that's one thing I really like about Mahathir. And is and actually, you know, I have one of his certificate that he signed. That's really proud of me. I'm really proud that at least I have that certificate, at least, you know. And but I really love Mahathir. And why I say that, because I always, although I'm an international, some of them ask, kenapa orang ni, like, kenapa dia suka sangat Mahathir, or why he don't like Mandela? Of course, Mandela is from Africa. I'm not saying that I'm from Africa, I like Mandela, but it's a vision, you know. Let's say that when he created 2020 visions in 1980, people never believed him. They never thought that. And you know what I liked about him is like, what I liked about him maybe is that, you know, when someone asked, I remember one time, someone asked, why you built Twin Towers, Petronas Twin Towers, KLCC, you know, and this, he, yeah, that's the thing. So he answered that, you know, I want to give an attention. I want to show the world that Malaysia exists. That's one of the good things that we should that people should do it, you know. And that what most of the African countries, they really need that, because they can do a lot of things, but they should, at least you need to plan and have the vision. That's why I really admired him, although he's 93 years old, but he's still not influencer person, not in Malaysia. In my back home also, people look up to him. I look up to him. I learn a lot from him. And yeah, that's the hard question actually.
Wish. Inshallah, the first Malay speaking Somali president.
Inshallah. Inshallah, inshallah. That is a
Hidup
really good.
Awale.
That's a really good answer. Thank you, Awale, for answering that. So, before we end this, so Rafiki already asked a serious question. I'm gonna ask the non-serious one. So, I mean, you've been living in Malaysia for a long time, so you must know about the existence of mama, or I don't know how do you call it. Yeah, but it's called mama usually. So, when you walk in a mama shop,
Kedai mamak.
yeah, kedai mama, which one will you choose? Teh tarik or Milo ice?
Oh,
There's no meaning to the question. It's just a fun question. I just want to
but
know, like, what's
actually,
your
you know, when I walk to the, maybe let's say mama,
yeah,
usually I
mama.
drink, I love the Milo. Tetare, yeah, I'm a Milo guy. So I love, if I choose Tetare or Milo, I'll choose Milo definitely. Milo ice. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Good choice, good choice.
So yeah.
So yeah, I think that wraps up the session for tonight. It's a great opportunity to have this talk with you. We have gained a lot. We know of your experience during army. We know of your experience during volunteering in Kelantan, university levels, tips, and also common problems and things that you would say to the people, your goals. We have known all of that. And I think that our participants, our viewers, gain a lot of things from your talk, and that is really nice. Alhamdulillah. So, foremost, I want to thank Omar Awale for accepting our invites to be a guest in this channel. And also, thanks to our viewers who came at 12 in the midnight to see this podcast. But don't you worry, if you miss this podcast or you want to hear this podcast again, we will upload this on YouTube and also on Spotify. YouTube, Spotify, and we also have an Instagram and Twitter account. So if you're new to this, you can come
Yes.
and follow our channels, our social media also.
Follow Awale's Facebook, Instagram. He
Yeah,
hasn't made
follow
he hasn't made Twitter yet. Soon, inshallah. Soon, soon.
inshallah. So before we end, we usually take pictures, right?
Yeah.
So what you guys have
So
to
yeah,
do is just look at the camera and wait till
Tengok
the
kamera je. Senyum,
tengok je
senyum,
kamera.
senyum.
Terima kasih.
yes,
Terima kasih
thank you.
datang. Thanks
Terima
for
kasih
watching.
ya
Alhamdulillah.
Awale.
Thank you everyone.
Alhamdulillah.
Bye.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.